Panthers Nation. It's over. Carolina's officially been eliminated from the Deshaun Watson quarterback sweepstakes. Ended up turning into a reality TV show, though. It's still dragging out as we speak, but I'm almost glad the misery is over. Even though we never really got eliminated fully until now, you could tell it was slowly slipping through. And today I just woke up with a lot of frustration and anger at this front office and organization. But Panthers fans, let me know down below in the comments how you're feeling right now. I know some of y'all are probably going to say, oh, I told you so. I knew he wasn't coming to us. Why would he come to us? Well, we had been in the conversation for a year. And then it really started picking up the past few weeks. So it's hard to say I told you so when stuff was getting that thick. I mean, it's just transgression after transgression that we've been harping on seems to have finally shown its head on a national scale. And now the whole NFL is on display of how silly or how unserious of an organization it is. You stalked this guy for over a year throughout the suspect allegations, divided the fan base on moral lines, divided the fan base on football lines as far as decision-making of how much to give up. All for naught. Who are we? Maybe it's the fans' fault for even believing that something like this would be possible. Like, Carolina never has nice things. Like, maybe it's our fault for getting psyched up about it. Nevertheless, we have to move on. I will probably have maybe a live stream talking about it and just delivering more than that. But the NFL is all about moving and shaking. It's all about what's next. What's plan B? Because plan A didn't work out, Deshaun Watson. What do you do now? Because plan B has really decided the fate of our franchise. Plan B has really been the story of Matt Rhule's tenure from day one, where you got rid of Cam Newton, who should have been plan A in my opinion. Plan B was Teddy Bridgewater. That didn't work out. The next offseason, what was the plan? To get rid of Teddy. You try to get Matt Stafford. That didn't work out. Plan B ended up being Sam Darnold. That didn't work either. So now you have Deshaun Watson was your plan A. You were scheming on him for a while. He leaves you hanging at the altar. You're heartbroken. So what is going to be the plan B? So that's going to be the topic of this video. But my name is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. I start off every video by saying, what up, dude? Here on the Necessary Bluntness, I give a recap and analysis of the NFL, in particular the Carolina Panthers. So if you want to see more videos, film breakdowns, draft analysis, news and updates, player breakdowns as we sign people this offseason, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell icon. I drop videos on the regular. I give quick little tidbits about people that we signed, just giving you a briefing on them and updates. So if you want to stay up to date, hit the bell icon and hit the subscribe button when you do that, because you don't want to miss a thing. Because obviously this is going to be an exciting offseason. It's already been thus far. But here we are. Let's talk about the options. Because now at this point, even though we're just not in the free agency, the quarterback market was pretty much dry this year. The draft class seems pretty suspect. I don't know if it's that bad. It's just there's no clear-cut favorite, so it's hard to really get a read on any of these guys and hard to rank them. The free agent market, slim pickings. There's some injured quarterbacks out there. The trade market, could you tap that? Maybe. So we're going to go through every other option. Let's start with the veteran guy that we can trade for. Jimmy Garoppolo. He is an option. Although he has an injured shoulder, he won't be able to throw until July. Jimmy Garoppolo is clearly on the block. They drafted Trey Lance last year. They've been trying to shop him with all full intent that they're going to trade Jimmy. There's not really been a market to create for itself. The Deshaun Watson thing really was holding up every other quarterback that could possibly be traded. But it feels like the expectations for what the 49ers want for Jimmy don't match what everybody else feels, especially if he won't be able to throw until July going to a new team. It just seems like a recipe for disaster. The Panthers could do this, but it just seems like almost desperation because they're already thin on draft picks. They don't have a lot of capital to give up in that aspect. So for them to pretty much take a flyer on a suspect, no. And if everybody saw what you traded for Sam Darnold, they're going to try to hit you in the head for multiple picks and make you overspend. So Jimmy Garoppolo's out there, but I don't think that's an option. Derek Carr was an option until the Raiders decided to make an aggressive move and trade for the best receiver in the NFL, Devontae Adams. And now Derek Carr is supposed to be getting an extension. So he's out of there. It was always far-fetched for me because I thought the asking price was going to be a little bit too much that the Panthers should or would be willing to give up. So he's gone. Obviously, with the Browns throwing their hat in the race for Deshaun Watson, it created a rift in the organization. And Baker Mayfield requested a trade. Could Baker Mayfield be a possible candidate for the Carolina Panthers quarterback? Same draft class as Sam Darnold. Same thing as Jimmy Garoppolo coming off of a shoulder injury. I think he'll be able to throw a little bit sooner. But what is the asking price? I'm hearing they thought they can get a 2 or maybe a conditional 3rd round pick that could turn into a 2 depending on how many games Baker Mayfield starts. We already gave up a 2nd round pick and multiple other later picks for a quarterback in the same draft class drafted after him. I'm not a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'm almost numb to trying to do these reclamation projects on these young quarterbacks that seem like damaged goods. Now, Baker, if you put an offensive line behind in front of him, running back and receivers, can he do better? Probably not, because he had that in Cleveland and he still couldn't get it done. So I don't think Baker Mayfield is an option. Another option is that I've been hearing floating around is Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, we know the mustache guy, the guy that wears the short shorts, the mullet sometimes. He's a fun guy to have. He will bring maybe a little spark of energy just because his personality is so fun-loving and the style of play is so fun-loving. He's a backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. His trade value will probably be fairly low. Maybe you can get him for a 5th or a 6th. Is he the long-term answer? Hell no. No. Is he dynamic enough to get you through 1 year and have you exciting on some Ryan Fitzpatrick type of energy? Yeah, I think so. We've seen that he can get it done in certain spots. If you know that you're not going to be able to find your quarterback of the future this year and you feel like you want to push it at the next year, kick it the can down the road, you can go with Gardner Minshew. But you're also risking having to pay DJ Moore later. And then Brian Burns' contract year is coming up. Not to mention Taylor Moton just signed that extension, but you're wasting a year or two with the young guy there. So what do? Jeremy Chinn's going to be coming up time for contract. Shaq Thompson has a high price tag. So how long can you keep kicking the can down the road and making a decision on a quarterback? I don't think we're in a position to get up any more assets than we already barely have anyway. But what about looking to the streets? Colin Kaepernick. I know a lot of people have floated Colin Kaepernick in his name. His name is floated out there, throwing some passes. He looks pretty decent. It's been a while since he played, obviously. But heck, I mean, at this point, the fan base has been alienated enough. I know with him will come some controversy because just where the location of the Panthers are and the type of people that live in this area, it may not sit well with them having a guy because the kneeling topic is still sensitive to some. But I think it's clear and obvious that Colin Kaepernick deserves a shot. Will it happen? I doubt it. People forget that the Panthers had Eric Reed on their team who had just signed a contract with Marty Hurney the year before Matt Rhule came. With 2 years left on his deal, $6 million per year, Matt Rhule decided to cut him because he didn't feel like he was good at football. I think it was some deeper issues obviously to do with the kneeling. So I don't think that would really mesh well with Matt Rhule on that standpoint. But also, Colin Kaepernick may not want to come here because he knows how he was done with Eric Reed. So when you make these certain moves, you get a reputation, people surrounding the league start paying attention, and it starts rearing its head, like I said, with the Deshaun Watson situation. And now, the hometown favorite, the kid, Boogie, Cam Newton. Is he an option? People say just bring back Cam, get a young guy, let the fans enjoy Cam's last ride and being a mentor for a young guy would be great. But from what I'm hearing, word on the street is they reached out to Cam and Cam doesn't want to come back. For what they communicated to Cam, the role that he would have would be more so like Taysom Hill, and that's not what he wants to do at his age. Yes, he can still do it, but he's lost a lot of weight from his younger days when he was bigger and pounding the rock, and I don't think that's something he wants to be in a position to do. And if other teams are interested, like I'm hearing, I don't see Cam Newton coming back for a situation like that. And it's unfortunate that it's gotten to the point that Cam Newton's turning him down because he was out of the league. He was willing to come back and mend the fences, brought some excitement to us for a few weeks at least. But the way they did him down the stretch, he may not want to come back. And I think they did him down the stretch like that because they wanted to try to drive up Sam Darnold's value. They wanted to get Sam to come in and show a few decent games at the end of the season to be able to trade him for something. We'll see how that ends up working out. And the last option besides the draft, obviously, is keeping Sam Darnold. But at this point, what do? You've gone this hard for Deshaun Watson. Every quarterback doesn't take that well. We see Baker Mayfield didn't take that well. I don't blame him. Tua Tagovailoa took it pretty well throughout the season when the rumors were happening. But every quarterback doesn't have the mental makeup. And Sam Darnold, I guess the perception that he's probably really fragile. If they feel like they have to give him the 5th-year option automatically, when he first got here because they wanted to instill confidence in him. He probably won't be confident enough to recover from it being blatantly obvious that the team is going for another quarterback, no matter if it's clear and obvious that that quarterback is better. Everybody can't handle that. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. And then Matt Rhule's probably hot seat year, regardless of how long his contract is. I don't think he wants to roll with Sam Darnold, to be honest. So that brings us to the last piece, the draft. You're sitting at number 6 pick. That's your only pick within the top 100. Some people are torn. Some people are saying that since there's no clear-cut number 1 quarterback, why not just trade back, recoup some picks for day 2? That way you can have more pieces because that's what you need. You need talent. You're short on picks and you're low on talent. You need an influx of cheap, young talent in this team. And honestly, that sounds the best if you truly want to rebuild. I do love Malik Willis. I do think that if we trade back, we won't be able to get him. I don't know if anybody will be trading up or jumping in front of us, but I'm honestly not opposed to trading back, seeing who's there as far as Pickett, Willis, Corral, Ritter, and just taking a flyer on one of those guys. If you can get in the mid to late first round. And then this is a deep offensive line class. Go to work on the offensive line there. You've already made some moves in free agency. You maybe just need another guard, maybe a tackle if you don't trust Brady Christensen. But I think trading back and taking a flyer on a young guy, seeing where he's at this offseason, running with him maybe. If he's not ready, start Sam, I guess, if you have to, or some kind of vet, and bring in a young guy. Yeah, his leash may be short, but if you don't use too much draft capital on him and you're in a bad position next year, take one of the high guys like Stroud or Bryce Young or whomever may pop up next year. But I definitely think it's worth a fresh start. In my opinion, I would pick the draft. Whether you pick Willis at 6 or whoever, I think the draft has to be it. Giving up any more players or capital for retread on any kind of quarterback, it just doesn't seem worth it at this point. And I think fans don't think it's worth it either. They're tired of seeing you toy with this draft capital and be careless with it, and they continue to make bad decisions. But it's all about plan B. The common denominator has been plan A not working. That's the definition of Matt Rhule's career. Plan A not working. What do you do for plan B? And they continue to fumble it, but this time, I think if they fumble it this time, this will be their last time. So we'll see what happens. You guys let me know down below in the comments, how do you feel? What do you think is the best plan B option for the quarterback position for this team? I gave you a lot of options. Pick one of the options I gave out there. Or if you have another one of your own, go ahead and choose that. Let me know down below in the comments. Let's have this conversation because it must be had. We're at a crossroads right now, so it must be had. But I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys make sure you are subscribed. Be safe out there. I'll see you next time. Peace.